There's something about the dark of night that captures the imagination. A full moon's delicate reflection dancing in the impatient ripples of the water below, and the gentle twinkling of the stars and fireflies. On one hand, the night is the dwelling place of all of humanity's greatest fears, yet on the other, the night also carries an aura of mystique, intrigue, and self-reflection. It commands thought, introspection, and just a hint of gentle loneliness. In it, there is as much tragedy as there is joy, and that is precisely why it remains so beautiful as it is. There have been many fictional tales which capture this melodic quiet. The Pixar short Luna, for example, or the lonely beauty of Super Mario Galaxy evoke similar feelings, but none so perfectly, or with such majesty and grace, as tonight's subject matter. Yoru no Kuni, roughly translated as Night Country, or Land of the Night, is, if nothing else, an enchanting experience. It came and went with utmost subtlety, quietly offering itself as an experience only those who specifically sought it out could ever hope to find. First conceived as a companion piece to the latest album release of one of my favorite Japanese artists, Aimer and Studio Daisy have crafted something truly magical here. And I believe those who have seen the anime can wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. Yes, I know it's pronounced Eme and that it comes from France or something along those lines, but I'm going to pronounce it Aimer because I can. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, please put up with it anyway. Of course, as a companion piece to a studio album, music constantly fills the air, but to my surprise, the series is also confident enough in itself that it's capable of quieting down and letting the weight of things gently sink in from time to time. In other words, the music is never overpowering or a major distraction to the specific atmosphere that Yoru no Kuni is taking its audience on a tour of, something that is all the more impressive considering it's technically an extended music video. In the bright and colorful world of seasonal anime, this experimental anthology and its cool palette faded into obscurity almost immediately. I'm willing to wager that no one watching this video right now has ever heard of Yoru no Kuni before, and that is truly a shame. I doubt this video will skyrocket its popularity either, yet rather than finishing the edits for my next deep dive video, I decided to put every other project I have on pause to talk briefly about this series all the same. To be completely honest, this isn't the video I thought I would be uploading this month. In fact, I have another deep dive sitting in my editor that is nearly complete right now, and it is not a small project either. On top of that, there's a script I've been working on for Wonder Egg Priority, and another script I've been putting together for a new WeCross video, in celebration of the fact that WeCross is finally coming to an English-speaking audience, but I put all of that on hold to talk about Yoru no Kuni, because it simply captured that level of relevance to me at this stage of my life. Recent events have made this 3-episode OVA more special to me than I ever imagined it would or could be. And given how those recent events have affected my life, and as a result, my level of appreciation for this show, I see it fit to discuss those events here, albeit in minimal detail so as to avoid overshadowing the whole point of this video, which is to appreciate and analyze the series itself. As a courtesy to you, the viewer of this video, I'd like to make it clear that I won't be talking about episodes 2 or 3 in any meaningful way, and to the best of my ability, I won't be talking about episode 1 in as much detail as I otherwise would if it were any other series. I may briefly mention themes or motifs in generalized terms, but due to the incredibly small viewer base this wonderful piece of art actually has, I'd rather avoid spoiling it as much as I possibly can. To be frank, doing so would defeat the purpose of watching Yoru no Kuni in the first place. The entire series is worthwhile, and I highly recommend you watch it before continuing on with this video. I have left links in the description below to help you find your way, should you be in need of a guide. I'll pause now to give you a moment to decide if you'd rather be spoiled, or if you want to see Yoru no Kuni for yourself before continuing. Those of you who've already decided may use the chapters to skip ahead. And those of you who haven't, I encourage you to watch it, but I leave it up to you. In episode 1, we start by seeing a young girl quietly try to sleep, her parents' concern shining through like the glimmer of light from her slightly open bedroom door. Slowly, of course, that light begins to fade as the door is pulled shut, and the child, whose name turns out to be Chiyo, clutches a stuffed dog. In this moment, the tragedy becomes clear. Choco, the family dog, has sadly passed on from the world of the living. Yet, in this time of great distress, Chiyo said nothing. No tears were shed that fateful day. Rather, she's decided to ignore these events, as she can't, in her current state, possibly accept them as the truth. When she admits that he's gone and the tears do come, only then will Choco's death become reality, and Chiyo is determined to keep that from happening for as long as possible. If I had to name a cohesive theme which is carried across all 3 of Yoru no Kuni's episodes, I would say that it consists of 2 major points, each of which being equally important to the show's core idea. The first is what we've just discussed, a lack of acceptance for that which we deem unimaginable. Indeed, the lyrics of Hamilton ring true here, that we push away what we can never understand. We push away the unimaginable. The effect losing a dog has on a child, the actuality of death affecting such a small and vulnerable being, it's painful, but it is inevitable in the type of world we find ourselves residents of. The second, and arguably most important, is the growth that tragedy forces upon all of us in order for us to keep going. After meeting with the wise, owl-like creature with the soothing voice known as Yoru, Chiyo's defiance and emotional despondence are slowly but surely addressed, through that same solemn beauty that the night sky has always provided. Over the course of the episode's 7-minute runtime, Chiyo goes on an adventure through the confines of her heart, and the darkest sky in recent memory, a sky with hardly any stars at all, is filled with light before the sun has even entertained the idea of arriving for dawn. This light and recurring imagery of starless nights being filled with stars over time is a beautiful metaphor for growth. Though the death of her beloved Choco is hard to accept, it isn't until she is capable of doing so that Chiyo can learn to grow and properly mourn what it is that she has lost, respecting the memory of that lost friend by accepting his absence from her home. Yes, he may be physically gone, but he never truly disappears, not completely, so long as he remains in the shadows of the night, living on as a memory that Chiyo can visit whenever she finds herself in need. In this way, Yoru no Kuni seems to make the statement that life is all about hardships, but that the true importance of those hardships goes beyond the events themselves. Rather, it lies within one's ability to learn from them. Purpose, according to Yoru no Kuni, is therefore defined by one's ever-increasing abilities of acceptance and growth. So, why talk about this now? Well, in a rather unfortunate recent turn of events, a beloved family member and lifelong furry friend has passed away. I've never mentioned outside influences on my videos before, at least not in any sort of specific terms, but in this case I find it hard not to make mention of it, at least in some small way, because the truth of the matter is that when I lost my rabbit, whom I raised from the moment he was old enough to leave his mother, Yoru no Kuni spoke to me and comforted me in a way that very little else could. As I said, I had no intention of making this video in the first place, but in light of his passing, I felt it was important to talk about the series that helped keep me going. In the dark of night, when I felt all was lost, that chance encounter with the Guardian of the Night felt, to me, like something truly spectacular, and to that end, I believe it has the power to be that kind of experience for others, who may come across it in the midst of their own dark nights and challenging trials. It isn't that hard to believe that for many people like myself, the discovery of this show was the wake-up call that we needed. Ironic, considering it has shrouded itself in the thematic color of dreams and sleep. Ultimately, like the characters the series portrays, I had to accept what has happened, and learn to grow as a person as a result. Given the profound impact of Yoru no Kuni on my life, it should make perfect sense to you now why I choose to bring it to your attention in the middle of the night, so close to my next deep dive, and without any prior warning or hint that a video of this nature was coming. It was a surprise to me too, but if there happens to be anyone out there who needs it, know that it is there, somewhere within the caverns of sadness life digs for us to sift through. A clearing of hope and a song of renewal echo throughout the starless sky, creating, in their absence, a glimmering sea of dreams, tears, and memories, whose gentle glow will forever remain to guide us through our darkest times. Yoru no Kuni is not for everyone, of that I am quite sure, but for whom Yoru beckons to, for whoever other than me needed to see this and know that a story like this exists, you're welcome. And good night.